Ever driven alone, late at night, where the darkness feels like it's swallowing everything whole? Ever wondered what secrets the empty roads hold when the rest of the world is asleep? What if, on one of those desolate stretches, you stumbled upon something unexplainable? Something that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and your heart pound like a drum solo? Yeah, well, that happened to me. Let me tell you about it. It was back in 2017, a year that's just starting to feel like a faded photograph, but this night is burned into my memory like a brand. I'd been wrestling with the wheel of my semi for almost 15 years by then. 15 years of asphalt under my tires, 15 years of sunsets blurring into sunrises, 15 years of the open road becoming both my prison and my freedom. This particular haul was an overnight gig, cutting right through the heart of the Mojave Desert. California to Arizona. Appliances, I think. Dishwashers, maybe fridges. The kind of mundane cargo that keeps the world turning, but feels utterly insignificant when you're staring down the barrel of a desert night. Pitch black. That's the only way to describe it. Not just dark, but pitch black. Like someone had sucked all the light out of the universe and left me floating in a void. You know how it is in the desert, especially away from any towns. No light pollution to soften the edges, just pure, unadulterated darkness pressing in from every direction. And to make matters worse, my damn headlights. They were pathetic. Dim, yellowy beams that barely punched a hole in the night. I'd been meaning to get them fixed for, well, let's just say longer than I'd like to admit. Usually, it wasn't a problem. City driving, highway traffic, there's always enough ambient light that you barely notice if your headlights are a little weak. But out here, in the absolute nothingness of the Mojave, it was a different story. It was like driving with two candles strapped to the front of an 18-wheeler. Every few minutes, I'd find myself straining, squinting, trying to force my eyes to penetrate the darkness, to pick out the faint lines of the road ahead. It was a constant, nagging tension, a low hum of anxiety that vibrated through my bones. Honestly, it was a horror story in itself, just that drive. The relentless darkness, the feeling of being utterly alone, the constant battle to stay on course. Part of me, the sensible part, kept whispering, pull over, just pull over for a couple of hours. Wait for sunrise. It's not worth it. But the other part, the part fueled by desperation and a stubborn refusal to give in, roared back, no time to waste. Money, remember? You need this run. Sunrise is hours away. Just keep going. Money. That was always the engine, wasn't it? The greasy, grinding engine that kept us truckers rolling through the night, through the fatigue, through the loneliness, through the gnawing fear that sometimes crept in from the shadows. I needed the money, badly. So, I pressed on, telling myself it would be all right. Straight shot, I muttered to myself, gripping the wheel a little tighter. Mojave's mostly straight. How much trouble can you get into on a straight road? Famous last words, right? It must have been about an hour, maybe less, before sunrise when it happened. Just when the eastern horizon was starting to hint at the faintest ghost of pre-dawn light, that's when I saw it. Something in the distance, approaching fast. Headlights, small, sharp points of light piercing the darkness ahead. Too fast. Way too fast. My first thought, stupidly, was animal. Coyote? Deer? Something bolting across the road in front of me. Adrenaline spiked, and my foot slammed on the brake pedal before my brain even fully registered what was happening. The semi shuddered, air brakes screaming like tortured beasts. Tires protested in a long, drawn-out screech against the asphalt. Everything lurched forward, then settled into a jarring, abrupt stop. My chest slammed against the seatbelt, and for a moment, everything was just ringing silence and the faint, acrid smell of burning rubber. Then, as the ringing faded and my heart started to slow its frantic pounding, I realized what was in front of me. Not an animal. A car. A car parked smack dab in the middle of the road. Not pulled over to the shoulder. Not even close. Dead center. Like it had been dropped from the sky. And not just in the middle of the lane, but literally straddling the double yellow line. Like someone had intentionally parked it to block both lanes of traffic. What kind of idiot? Then I saw the hazards. flickering orange pulses in the darkness, weak, apologetic blinks that did little to explain the bizarre parking job, and then the detail that truly sent a shiver crawling down my spine. The passenger door, wide open, sticking out into the empty night like a beckoning hand. My rig had stopped. I checked the distance in my mirrors, trying to judge. A foot, maybe less, before crunching into the rear bumper of that car. Damn close. Too close for comfort. Okay, let's be honest here. I'm not exactly Mr. Timid. 15 years on the road. You see things, you deal with things. And back in my younger days, well, let's just say I knew my way around a bar fight. So, fear? Nah, not really. Curiosity? Yeah, that was definitely there. A heavy dose of it. More than fear, I was just puzzled. What the hell was going on? Jump start? Maybe someone needed a jump start. Or ran out of gas. But in the middle of the road? With the door open? It made no sense. Still, instinct kicked in. Safety first. I threw the semi into reverse, backing up a good 20, 30 feet, then pulled over onto the shoulder, as far off the road as I could get without risking getting stuck in the soft shoulder dirt. Flares. Yeah, flares. That's the smart thing to do, right? Throw down some flares, warn any traffic that might wait. Traffic? I hadn't seen a single other car, not one, in hours. Flares seemed like overkill, and a pain in the ass to set up. Nah, forget the flares. I killed the engine. The sudden silence after the rumbling diesel was almost deafening. Got out of the cab, the metal steps cold under my work boots. The night air was thick. Warm? Yeah, but heavy still. No breeze, not even a whisper. Strange, I thought. Desert nights usually had a little wind, a dry, whispering breath. Tonight, nothing. And quiet. Unnaturally quiet. The kind of quiet that pressed on your ears, that made you feel like you were the only living thing left in the universe. Except for the faint, rhythmic click, click, click of the hazard lights. That was the only sound. That tiny, insistent ticking in the vast, echoing silence of the desert. It was eerie, unsettling. I started walking towards the car, gravel crunching softly under my boots. Red. That was the first thing that struck me as I got closer. Bright, almost shockingly bright red in the monochrome darkness. A new car. Definitely new. Shiny, clean lines, not a speck of dust on it. A Ford Fusion, I registered, the make and model clicking into place in my trucker's brain. Always cataloging vehicles on the road. A red Ford Fusion, brand new, sitting abandoned in the middle of the Mojave Desert at an hour before sunrise. And empty. Approached cautiously? Yeah, I'd say cautiously. Every step felt deliberate, measured. The open passenger door yawned like a black maw in the side of the car. I walked around the front, keeping a little distance, my eyes scanning the interior through the windshield. Empty. Just the seats, the dashboard, the steering wheel. No sign of anyone. I circled the car, slow, deliberate, heart starting to thump a little harder in my chest now. Peered through the open passenger door. Front seat's empty. Checked the back. Leaned in, craning my neck, peering into the shadows of the back seat. Nothing. Empty. Utterly, completely empty. Checked again, just to be sure. Maybe someone slumped down. Out of sight? Maybe someone had passed out? No. No one. The car was pristine, untouched, abandoned. Like it had been teleported there, fully formed, driverless and passengerless, into the middle of nowhere. That's when the unease really started to settle in. Before, it had been curiosity, puzzlement. Now, it was something darker, heavier. Something wrong. Definitely wrong. Nap? Yeah, maybe someone took a nap. A really, really dumb place for a nap. But that didn't explain the open door. Or the emptiness. This wasn't a nap. This was something else. Something I didn't understand. Something I didn't like. I cast a glance over my shoulder, back towards my semi, looming dark and silent on the shoulder of the road. Then another glance, sweeping the darkness around me. Nothing. Just empty desert stretching out in all directions, swallowed by the night. But now, the emptiness felt different. It felt watchful. Whipping my head around. Yeah, that's exactly what I started doing. Jerky, Nervous movements, scanning, scanning, scanning. Every shadow seemed to deepen. Every rustle of unseen desert creatures in the scrub brush sounded amplified, distorted. Felt like someone was going to jump out. Yeah, exactly that feeling. Like any second, something was going to burst from the darkness, charge at me, grab me. But the problem was, the darkness was so complete. My headlights, weak as they were, only carved out a small pool of light directly in front of the truck. Beyond that pool, everything dissolved into impenetrable blackness. Eerie? Understatement. This was bordering on terrifying. Waited a while longer. Yeah, stood there, rooted to the spot beside that empty red car, the silence pressing down on me, the hazard lights clicking their lonely rhythm. Thinking about getting back in my truck. Yeah, that thought was screaming in my head. Get back in the semi. Lock the doors. Forget about this whole thing. Drive away. Now. Smart voice, that one. Sensible voice. But someone was out there. Somewhere. Against my better judgment, against every instinct screaming at me to run, I decided to keep investigating. Stupid, maybe. Curious, definitely. Something about that empty car, that unsettling stillness, just wouldn't let me walk away. Looked inside the car again. Yeah. Leaned in, peered into the driver's seat this time. Everything seemed normal. Too normal. Clean, tidy, nothing out of place. Key. Wait, key. Yeah, the key was in the ignition, dangling right there, glinting faintly in the dim light filtering from my semi. Key in the ignition, in an abandoned car, in the middle of the desert, with the door wide open. Engine turned off, though. At least that was something. Got back out, straightened up, another nervous glance around. Still nothing but darkness and silence. Trunk. Might as well have a look, I figured. Stupid curiosity again, pulling me deeper into this weirdness. Went to the trunk. Yeah, walked around the back of the Fusion. Grabbed the handle. Pulled. Nothing. Wouldn't budge. Locked. Of course it was locked. Why would anything be easy tonight? Grabbed the key. Yeah. Reached back inside. Fumbled for the key in the ignition, pulled it out, clicked the trunk button on the key fob. Heard a faint click from the rear of the car. Tried the trunk again. Still wouldn't open. Jammed. Jammed from the inside somehow. What the hell? Opened the back door. Yeah, passenger side back door again. The open one. Squeezed into the narrow space between the back seat and the front seat. Smelled new car smell. Faint. Almost chemical. Mixed with something else. Something. Musty? Couldn't place it. Tried getting at the trunk through the back seat. Yeah. Leaned forward, fumbled for the release latch. To my surprise, it actually opened. Click. Heard the latch release. Trunk popped open a crack. Yes. Finally, maybe some answers. Garbage bags. 3 of them. Yeah. Crammed in there. Black. Heavy looking. Squishy. Definitely squishy. And a rope. Rope tying the trunk closed from the inside. Thick. Nylon rope. Looped around the latch mechanism, then disappearing into the trunk itself. Weird. Really weird. Glanced one more time over my shoulder. Yeah, the feeling of being watched was getting stronger now, prickling the skin on the back of my neck. Coast was clear. Still just darkness and silence. But the feeling, it was there. Must have been within 5 inches, yeah. Reaching for one of the bags now. Curiosity finally outweighing the creeping dread. Reaching out, fingers brushing against the rough plastic of the garbage bag. Bang. Loudest gunshot. Yeah, loudest gunshot I've ever heard in my life. Ringing, deafening, echoing, ripping through the silence of the desert night like a thunderclap. Slammed my head. Yeah, literally slammed my head on the roof of the car in shock. Stars exploded behind my eyes. Everything went white for a split second. Didn't even think, no rational thought, just pure, raw instinct. Threw the keys, yeah, just tossed them blindly onto the front seat. Got out of the car, as fast as I could, scrambling, stumbling, tripping over my own feet in my panic. Climbing into my semi, yeah, adrenaline surging, muscles screaming, heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. Engine. Need to start the engine. Fumbling for the ignition, shaking hands, key slipping, dropping it, fumbling again. Finally getting it in, twisting, cranking, 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 stalled, engine stalled, cursed, yeah, a string of curses ripped from my throat, raw, desperate, frustrated. Tried again, cranking, cranking, engine caught, coughed, sputtered, then roared to life. Thank God. That's when I saw him. As my truck began pulling out, yeah, just as I was maneuvering the semi back onto the road, headlights sweeping across the area. Person standing at the trunk of the car. Man short, husky, red hair, yeah, vivid red hair, even in the dim light, like a flame in the darkness. Overalls, shin-high boots, yeah, work boots, heavy, clomping boots. Left hand, small shovel, yeah, ordinary garden shovel, glinting faintly in the truck headlights. Right hand, though, right hand holding something else. Old-looking hunting rifle, yeah, rifle, long, dark wood stock, barrel pointed down, but still, rifle. Locked eyes, yeah, for a split second, just a fleeting connection across the darkness, across the space between my truck and that red car. Didn't move? No, he just stood there, solid, unyielding, rifle in hand. Not crazy, no, that's the weirdest part. Not a wild look, not a crazed expression. Worried, yeah, that's it. Worried look on his face. Confused, almost. As I passed him, yeah, as the semi rumbled past, inches away now, dropped his shovel, yeah, clattered to the asphalt, a dull thud in the night. Started waving his hands, frantically now, waving me down. Yelled, yeah, yelling something, voice grungy, rough, strained. Hey, hey, wait. A bunch of times, yeah, wait, wait, wait. Voice seemed to be quickly approaching, running towards me now. No, not staying. Not another second. Stepped on it, yeah. Foot slammed down on the accelerator. Engine roaring, semi-surging forward. Rearview mirror, yeah. Watched in the rearview mirror as he ran after my truck. For a few seconds, stumbling, heavy boots pounding the asphalt, then sprinting back to his car. Clear he wanted me to stop, yeah. No doubt about that. But no way, absolutely no way I was stopping. Pushed the semi faster. Yeah, way faster than I should have been going. Tires whining, engine screaming, the whole rig shuddering with speed and panic. Drove for like 5 minutes. Yeah, maybe longer, maybe less. Time was all warped and twisted in the adrenaline surge. Started to think I was in the clear. Yeah, maybe he'd given up. Maybe he'd just let me go. Then I saw headlights. Fast approaching behind me. Rearview mirror filled with blinding white light, closing in fast. More scared than I've ever felt. Yeah, in my entire life. Heart hammering, stomach churning, cold sweat soaking my shirt. He was chasing me. That red Ford Fusion, closing in, closing in. Called the police. Yeah, fumbling for my phone, shaking hands again, dialing 911. Voice trembling as I tried to explain what was happening, rambling, disjointed sentences tumbling out, trying to make sense of the insane situation. Car was basically right on my tail. Yeah, bumper to bumper now, headlights flooding my cab, rearview mirror useless, just blinding light. Started honking, yeah, horn blaring, insistent, aggressive, deafening honking, right behind me, right on my ass. Didn't know what to do. Honestly didn't know what to do. Just kept driving, yeah, foot still jammed down on the accelerator, praying to God, yeah, literally praying, mumbling prayers under my breath, please, God, please don't let him ram me. 15 minutes, yeah, felt like 15 hours, 15 years. Relentless chase, headlights, honking, fear, adrenaline. Then, finally, mercifully, flashing police lights. Ahead, red and blue strobes cutting through the darkness, growing larger, closer, closer. Ford veered off, yeah. As soon as he saw the police lights, red Fusion swerved violently to the right, bouncing off the highway, disappearing into the desert, just swallowed by the darkness again. Gone. Just like that. Pulled over. Yeah. Semi-shuddering to a stop again. Heart still racing. Hands still shaking. Waited for the officer. Yeah. Watching the police cruiser approach in my mirrors. Lights flashing. Siren wailing down now as it pulled up behind me. Officer showed up. Yeah, young guy, looked barely out of training, but at least he was here. Frantically told him what happened. Yeah, voice still shaky, still rambling, trying to explain the red car, the man, the shovel, the rifle, the garbage bags, the gunshot, the chase. Useless cop, yeah, felt utterly useless. Started getting a report, yeah, clipboard out, pen scribbling, asking me questions, filling out forms, rather than chase the guy down. Yeah, exactly. Guy was probably miles away by now. Pissed, yeah, beyond pissed. Told him like twice, yeah, pleaded with him, you can still catch him. He just drove off into the desert. Go now. Cop told me not to worry. Yeah, that bland, dismissive cop voice. Don't worry, sir. We'll do a thorough search as soon as backup arrives. Thorough search. In the Mojave Desert. In the dark. Hours after the guy disappeared. Yeah, right. Sent me on my way. Yeah, paperwork done. Story taken. We'll call you if we have an update. Never did. Never heard a word from them again. Story this crazy. Yeah, told it to my buddies, truckers, barflies, anyone who would listen. More times than I can count. Yeah, each time trying to make sense of it. Each time still ending up with more questions than answers. Burying bodies? Yeah, that's the first thing everyone thinks. Gotta be, right? Desert, middle of nowhere, garbage bags, shovel. But small shovel, yeah, you noticed that too. Small garden shovel. Not exactly body-burying equipment. And why follow me? Why chase after me if he was just trying to bury bodies? Didn't make sense. Bags too small. Yeah, garbage bags, not body bags. Although, dismembering. Yeah, some of my buddies went there. Dismembering, smaller bags, easier to transport. Dark thoughts. Too dark. For my own sanity, yeah, gotta find a less horrific explanation. Other kind of animal. Yeah, that's what I try to tell myself. Diseased dog. Maybe, putting it out of its misery. Or dangerous snakes. Yeah, deserts full of snakes. Rattlesnakes, scorpions, all kinds of nasty critters. Maybe he was burying. Something like that. Really no idea. Yeah, honestly, I'm just grasping at straws here. Either way, never been comfortable. No, never been totally comfortable driving through deserts late at night after that experience. Never felt the same peace behind the wheel in those vast, empty spaces. The darkness always felt a little different after that night. A little more alive. A little more threatening. So, what do you think? What was that guy doing out there in the Mojave? Was it something sinister? Something tragic? Or just some weird, desert dweller quirk? I still don't have the answers, and maybe some questions are better left unanswered, lurking in the shadows, just like that red Ford Fusion disappearing into the desert night. If you're itching for more tales from the road, stories that'll keep you awake on those long hauls, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment below. Let me know your theories about the red Fusion guy, and tell me if you want to hear about the time I picked up some unexpected passengers on a late-night run. Part 2.